So yes, we are back for another Q&A after having just seen the Wrath of Thorn up on the big screen, and now we have some of the cast and crew behind said movie to talk. Let's go down the line and introduce yourselves and what you did on this movie.
My name's MJ Dixon. I wrote and directed Wrath of Thorn.
Hello, my name is Paris Rivers, and I portray the character Eric Jones in Wrath of Thorn.
Hello, my name is Pauline Peart, and you'll have to see it to know what I play.
I don't know where I can go on from that. My name's John Paul Gates, and like Pauline, I'm one of the antagonists. I play Detective Cyphers.
And I've managed to get the microphone round JP's legs, so that's good. I'm Martin W. Payne, and I seem to be credited as production manager. Did nothing.
So that's Wrath of Thorn, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want to quickly go down the line again and talk a little bit about this filmmaking journey, why you got into it, and why you would stay in it.
Why I would stay in it? Pure, like, self-deprivation.
Masochism.
Masochism. I genuinely, some days I really genuinely don't know. Because this is like our 11th feature, and we've kind of fallen into what I think is a really good space, but most people look at me like I'm a crazy person, where we kind of just make movies with what we have, like, all the time. And like most people are like, well, you do that a couple of times, and then you kind of go and try and get your, like, you know, $200,000 kind of movie deal with someone, and now we've kind of gone, nah, we kind of like doing what we're doing, really. So it's a bit like a summer camp, to be honest. Like every summer we all kind of get together in the blistering heat, and I force everyone to dress in stupid costumes and run around old buildings and stuff.
And is that really how it feels for everyone else, or is it torture?
It's torture for me. It's certainly. I wake up every morning like dreading the day ahead. But I mean, I can't speak for everyone here, but mostly everyone else seems to be having a good time. The actors especially, except for Paris. But I mean, we've been friends for so long at this point that he's not allowed not to do it.
Yes, I have a contract where he actually has possession of my soul. Like, that is it's reality. What's going on the screen?
Well, for me, it is the fact that he says, I think they can hear me loud enough. I think it's the fact that he likes throwing it at us. He says, what are you doing next week? Well, nothing, I think. Okay, well, keep Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday free, and get on the train on Thursday. Okay. And this one here, Mr. Paris, he changes. The others are lovely. They're lovely, lovely. He is dangerous. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not sure if that's a raging endorsement or not, but
But there's something else. MJ locations. They're amazing. Yeah. They're fascinating. They're killers. I've got to tell you this. And why we do it, we're never sure we're going to be okay in the bushes. You are not safe. That's all I'm going to say. Will you?
Again, I don't know if I can follow that, but anyway, I'll do my utmost. So, I've been wanting to work with MJ for quite some time, and I filled in for Memford, who was originally, I think he's played this twice, has he, before me?
Yeah, once.
Yeah. And so the Microverse is something that is to behold within the horror community anyway. And I do a lot of horror films, and I thought, well, I've got to, nip that one in the bud and work with MJ before I get too old or he stops making movies. But of course, he won't, because he's prolific. And just talking about locations, just talking about the church that you see behind you. What was interesting, it was getting there.
Yes,
because it was in the middle of nowhere, and it took me, I think, 2 hours to get to the location. But 45 minutes was actually finding the church, because literally it was in a hamlet of hamlets of hamlets. And I kept calling MJ and saying, where the fuck am I? I mean, literally, I could not find it. And I think I was a little bit late, wasn't I, MJ?
I genuinely don't remember.
Oh, there you go. See,
You could have got away with that.
Not worried about his actor's welfare or anything, you know what I mean? And anyway, so yeah, I turned up and I was stressed out. And luckily, I think Martin gave me a coffee and something else, which we won't go into. But anyway, and it really calmed me down. And yeah, just getting into the scene as you do. And yeah, but no, it was a. We were just talking just prior to screening the film. It's the first time I've seen it, and MJ was talking about a post-apocalyptic world. And believe you me, turning up at that church was definitely post-apocalyptic. Anyway, enough about me. I'll pass you over to Marty because he's got more things to say that make more sense than I do. Anyway, cheers.
I doubt it. Yeah, coming back to the original question, what got me into it?
I'm glad you remember.
Yeah, well, yes, some of us did. I think more likely on this occasion, I'll just answer, why did I get involved with MJ and Maiko on production side? No, that was the question. Why did I get involved? But the answer is because, as you just said, he's prolific. He's not going to stop. So, and also I think MJ and Anna deserve support, and actually being able to assist in the production of, as I always call it, because I have a block in my head, Wrath of Thorn, which you've just seen. Sorry, Wrath of Thorn. Being able to
remember Shatner.
Every time I have to correct myself. But being able to assist on the production side of it was quite an interesting experience. Because, as JP's just said, the church, literally middle of nowhere. I mean, you knew you were going in the right direction once you'd opened the second farm gate to get to it. But the first location was actually in a small hamlet of London called Romford. But not at the Mercury Mall. But actually managing the move from Romford up to Milton Keynes and that area, and then into the middle of nowhere was really interesting. So, but really good fun, and that's why we continue to do it. It's fun.
Fabulous. Cool.
And Paris will kind of skip by you, so...
It's quite alright, I'm quite used to being skipped to. I'm joking.
Torture the artist.
So for those who are not familiar with the Slasher House and Thorn franchise, we've been doing this for a while. So I've been portraying Eric Jones as I turned 36 last month. So 12 years I've been portraying this character. In your universe, am I the actor who's been longest associated with one character?
Yes.
Okay, so just out of sheer tenacity, I will not let Eric Jones go down, and apparently he's been reincarnated in hell. So I guess we're going to keep doing this dance over and over again, because, we do have a unique brand of masochism here at Maiko. That's where the M comes from, masochism.
And you guys are really prolific in all your careers in acting, directing, and everything like that. But if you did have an unlimited kind of budget, what would you love to do that you can't do right now with your films?
Well, it's going to sound really weird, but I went to see a film called Heart Eyes 2 weeks ago, and I walked out of that and went, I'd probably make, if someone gave me like $4 million, I'd probably just end up making this. Or someone once said, I think as an insult, I watched Malignant the other day, and it's exactly the kind of crap you would make. But I was like, oh, thank you.
James Wan movie, so.
Or someone once, again as an insult, said, you're kind of like the Charles Band of UK cinema.
Right.
You know, meaning I make cheap crap, but I took it
Good
as
cheap crap.
excellent. I
Exactly.
grew up
Yeah.
on Puppet Master and kind of and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess if we had unlimited money, it would just really probably go more into getting other people to do like good visual effects and compositing and you know, compensating all the lovely people who just for some stupid reason agree to do this every so often.
Because we love it. We love working with you. We love being
you.
there. We'll give you hell on wherever we are.
Wouldn't have it any
And
other
you
way.
seem to go, oh, that's okay, dear. That's nice, darling. Could you do that again? JP, could you not kill her that way? Could you just ease into it?
Once more with feeling, please.
So in that, you guys all seem like really collaborative, and MJ, that comes across like you take on board what a lot of people or your crew do say to you. Can you think of something that creatively you guys thought, this is never ever going to work, but up on the screen today watching it, it looks amazing, and what you actually did?
The robot suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way.
yeah.
I
Thank you,
liked
thank
the
you.
reaction that got, because that was really...
It's like 3 weeks in my back garden
Yeah.
gluing things together. But Paris sells it.
I did feel like Optimus Prime for a good 5 minutes, so...
It kind of looked a bit ropey until we stuck the lights and everything on it and got it on him. But once he started, all the movement it's all him. It's all performance. And,
So on that, how does one get into the headspace?
How does one get into the headspace of wearing a mech suit? Well, are you familiar with the anime Gundam Wing?
Yeah.
Well, I seriously channeled, I pretended I was a Gundam Wing pilot. Like literally before one of the takes, like, it's a Gundam in my head. And basically I channeled an anime in order to do that. To answer your question.
it's a very safe decision.
It's a good one.
This one's for each and every one of you. Is there any particular moment on screen, like a line of dialogue, particular scene, any particular shot that you are super proud of, apart from the mech suit, you've already given us that you're really proud of what you guys created that day?
Mr. Payne.
Thank you. Obviously, I created nothing because I was not on the screen. Yes!
You're a producer.
Although maybe I was, but you don't know that. I just think, actually, what impressed me the most out of all of it was every time Mia just looked or said something that was just totally on point, and it was just a case of going, and every time that just gets me, because she was brilliant throughout. The amount of pressure that we put on Alice and Justin to make sure that Mia was on set, on location, knew her stuff, and she did. And then she gets Pauline telling her to shut up.
LOL.
It's telling her to look. Go on, look, darling. That's what happens to people when they disturb or upset him.
Stranger danger.
There you go. So she was absolutely fantastic. And
she was.
working with her and everyone, it's not just me, everyone on the set had time. Anything they were going to do with her, we spend the time, make her feel comfortable, then you can go to hell. Sort of respond.
She's better than a lot of bloody adults I worked with, that's for sure.
I think for me, I don't think I ever mentioned this anywhere, but the shocking A line at the end of the movie
Zing.
was set up in like Slasher House 1.
Right.
Big payoff.
With when Adam Williams' character fights Thorn and he gets electrocuted and he said shocking A, And then every time that happened, someone said it in the background with the idea that it was always going to end up with him saying it at the end when Thorn finally meets his demise. So, like, for, 15 years, I've been like, Shocking A is going all the way.
So that is a build-up.
So, like, it seems like a casual joke, like, you know, if you've never seen anything before, but it's also it's like, it's been going.
For the diehards.
Yeah, it's been going for 15 years. Every time Thorn has met his demise, someone said that. But obviously we left it to Eric had to be the last person to say it in the.
And I've heard you say before that the Wrath of Thorn or the Thorn was going to be a trilogy. Is it still going to be a trilogy, or are you going to do some more?
There's an overall story which is about 16 films, and it always has been. Yeah. Well, to be honest, it started off it was going to be like about 8 films, and then the Cleaver stuff got really popular, so like then that kind of got expanded out as well a little bit, and then so it's kind of grown a little bit over time, and then the Pandemonium film was more popular than I expected, so that kind of ended up expanding a bit. But the whole overarching story is about 16 films. That was film 11. I'm also kind of getting to like a weird point where I'm like, it's film 11 now. Can new audiences come in? And you really try to write each one as if it's the first film someone will see. But how successful that's becoming, I have no idea. So Thorn's story in the more overarching thing is done for now. I can't say too much. So the idea is to kind of finish out Cleaver and Bannister and Pandemonium, and then do the big kind of hoo-ha, hooray ending where everything comes together.
Assemble.
Yeah, you know. And then once that's done, that will probably be like a good 25 years of my life, which I've just committed to for some stupid reason, making this nonsense. And then I think there's space then to kind of sit down and go, okay, what do we want to do now with this kind of vast thing that we've built with all these different characters? So I mean, never say never is, I guess, the thing. But yeah, it'd be nice to one day, if we fancy it, go, should we do another Thorn movie? Yeah. You know, and if that happens, I do have an idea for another trilogy.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Do we have any questions out in the audience? We don't have a microphone, so you will need to shout. Yep, go on then.
I'm just wondering, when you're filming in church, do they worry about you making horror films or they find it? How does that work?
That's a pretty good question, actually. Years and years and years ago, when this film was kind of first in our minds, like 2017, 2018, a friend of mine took us to the church to have a look at it. He knew the key holder, so he took us there and kind of let us in and said, you know, you should use this for something. So my brain instantly went, End of Thorn, right, there we go. And then years later, we went to try and get it, but obviously in the meantime, the key holder had moved on and all this. And so we were desperately trying to find someone now who had access to this church that we decided was going to be the end of it. And we found this wonderful woman called Christine eventually. And she said, I hear you want to film in the church. It's not a horror movie, is it? And I was like, I can't lie to a woman who works at a church. So I was like,
I can't lie to a woman.
I'm afraid it is. And she was like, well, okay. But good wins in the end, don't they? I said, that's a very complicated question. And she went, let's just say yes, shall we? You can come and pick the keys up on the 17th. But yeah, so Christine was like super cool about it. But she did say that 10 years ago, someone came and filmed a horror film there, and everyone was like terrified that they were going to kind of basically ruin the reputation of this tiny little village that the church is kind of sat on the outskirts of. But yeah, she seemed pretty chill about the whole thing in the end, and they didn't seem to mind, which was which was good. I don't think they were expecting the robot suit, so yeah. But yeah, they were cool about it. They said it's not going to be like, devil worshippers or anything. I'm like, no. They worship like a big silver skull-faced entity. That's not the same thing, right? She gave me every opportunity to lie to her, but then let us do it anyway. So it was cool.
Should also say that the church itself is one of those that is in the sort of abandoned category. So it's not an active church with a congregation, but it is one that's being looked after by volunteers just to make sure it continues. And so therefore having access to it was, one, pretty special, but two, also supports what they are trying to do
absolutely.
and keep it going. So really worked out well.
Yeah.
Plus you can do some combo pro.
Of course. Yeah.
There you go. Anyone else? No.
Yeah, was the fight with the robot suit inspired by the scene in Aliens when Ripley says, "Get away from her, you bitch"?
Absolutely, it was. Yeah. A few years ago, we kind of we decided we were going to do this thing called the Slasher Smasher, and originally it was like a bear suit with chainsaws like sellotaped to it, but it turns out bear armor is like really hard to get hold of. So we kind of went back to the drawing board, and I looked at like a bunch of stuff, and I was like, okay, like we'd done like a big robot suit in the previous movie, like with the knuckle head and the big robot hands, and so I was like, well, maybe we could do something like that. And then I thought, well, we haven't done like a power loader yet, so let's do that. It originally had big feet that were made out of bins, but I was very, very convinced that he would fall through them, so they got axed at the last moment.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
First time I've seen a Michael film, so it's a new experience for me. But I was sort of taken by Hellraiser and Prince of Darkness as visual influences. Two questions. One of them is, what other visual references do you use, and do you have a particular in-joke that sort of is running through all your films that you kind of, like John Landis says, "See you next Wednesday," or Dan O'Bannon, the late Dan O'Bannon had a chicken in all his films. What? Is there any running jokes?
The running joke thing, I don't really know. I guess we've got the Shocking A thing, I guess, is a kind of specific to the Thorn stuff. But yeah, I guess we don't really... there used to be an axe that appeared in all of our films, but over time that's kind of gradually... we couldn't find a way to fit it in naturally or something, so that kind of petered out about film 7, I think. Right. But visually, I mean, John Carpenter's and Dean Cundy's cinematography especially, massive influence.
The music certainly was a bit like Christine and these others.
Oh yeah, again, Carpenter's music is is a huge kind of inspiration point for what I'm doing. I mean, like Halloween, it won't be any surprise to anybody, is my favourite film of all time. And essentially I've made a career out of just kind of riffing on that, and then doing something weird on top of it. So yeah, I guess John Carpenter would be. But yeah, the film is kind of a mixture of like Halloween, Friday the 13th and Hellraiser's kind of lore, and I just kind of smashed it all together and kind of went, okay, what's that? And there you go. So yeah.
So with that in mind, with your favourite movie of all time, let's end on a little fun question. If you could remake, and this is for everyone in terms of actors as well, if you could remake any classic movie, however, it has to be in musical form, and the cast...
Musical? Oh, bloody hell.
What would you remake?
Sleepaway Camp. Everyone except for Michael Caine, who plays Angela.
Oh dear me. Give me another minute. I'm actually thinking about this one.
Yeah, you've got to get this one right.
Yeah.
See, There you go. Comes to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Got to think of something improv. I tell you what, The Fog. Talking about John Carpenter, yeah. And I can imagine I can't remember the characters that come back at the end, you know, and interrogate the priest and the priest.
Ghostface.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rob Martin.
So I would like to play one of those. What was his name? The captain, whatever. Anyway, I can imagine them all, you know, just moving along, maybe techno style. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it because I'll embarrass myself. I
absolutely
need these
have
two.
to.
No.
We
I
will
can't.
join you.
You can't
We're
really
good at
tease.
The
this.
Fog definitely without. I mean, that is what.
Would the
you're
fog
talking
be like a
about-
puppet, like made out like cotton
yeah.
wool?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, no, I'd actually rather play the priest. Actually, I mean, I've just played a homage to The Exorcist anyway by doing Max John. What's his name? Max von Sydow. Yeah. So I've just done a low budget version of that. But yeah, I could imagine. Actually, the three of us could do that.
We could do
You should
that.
write
Yeah.
a script.
Oh, well.
You should.
What
Yeah.
about like the
Yeah.
fog versus the mist?
Well,
And like
there you
they
go.
could just like
And
yes.
yes.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
all cotton wool,
play
different
foggy for
cotton
me,
wool
or
and
play
some candy
misty for
floss.
me or
Yeah,
something,
just
you know what I mean?
there you go,
Yeah.
done.
Anyway, enough of that.
Oh, still a lead. I got
my
taken by the musical. What did you say after the musical? Puppets?
So it's a classic movie that you're remaking, but it has to be in musical form, and the cast bar one, your lead character, are all puppets.
Fine. So obviously,
Be careful what you say.
well, no, because of course everyone knows I do not watch films. You know, every time MJ says, "Oh, can you just play a character like so and so did in such and such?" I don't watch films. No. So I'm just going to default back to what I ended up at midnight last night on a certain podcast, and just say, obviously, the Italian Job
Yeah.
in musical format, but yeah, with the Muppets and Michael Caine playing, you know,
That'd be
a part. Yeah, that would work. And hopefully, Paris has now thought of something.
We've
No, he
wasted
hasn't.
time, pal.
I have actually.
By the way, let's take a moment because this better be good.
Well, I didn't think it
Drum
would
roll.
be, but well, I just thought that I really thought if we could make a musical based off of Aliens Part 1 and 2 called Crew Expendable, and the puppet is the giant queen alien,
I like it.
like you know, Little Shop of Horrors. So it's like a big Muppet instead of the plant, it's the alien creature, and like we could make a whole dance number like about the acid
Yeah,
and
like the little eggs
Billy
singing.
Paxton, game over, like.
I love it.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Wrath of Thorn 4, right there.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
guys.
vocalists, I can't sing.
Thank you so much for bringing us the movie. Thank you for letting us show it today. Thank you for doing this.